Hey, everybody, welcome. Hope you guys are doing well. How's everybody doing on TikTok? Good to see you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is our weekly mini class. Tonight we are talking about why psychics struggle with love. I love this topic. This could be a lot of fun. So hope you stay with us. Welcome everyone on YouTube. Hope you guys are doing well. If you could give this video a thumbs up to let me know that you can hear me and see me all right, greatly appreciated. Same thing for those of you on TikTok. All right, and welcome everyone on Facebook. How's everybody doing? Please give this video a thumbs up if you can hear me and see me all right on Facebook. All right, so while I let a few people tune in here, I'm going to make a couple quick announcements. This is our weekly mini class, and tonight's topic is why psychics struggle with love. Go ahead and start posting your questions, your comments, your personal experiences, because I know you guys have some. And Mairead, my beautiful producer, will be taking your questions and comments, and I'll be addressing each one of them individually a little bit later on here in the curriculum. All right, so a couple quick announcements while people tune in. First of all, I am touring again. So it's been a while. It's been a couple years, but I start again in November. All right, and if you guys want to see these dates and these links pop up on the screen, shift from TikTok and Facebook over here to YouTube at Ask Ivy. Mairead's going to be popping these up on the screen. All right, or you can go back later once this gets published and you can check it out. So bringing spirit back to the streets. I am touring again, starting in America, and then I want to move on to New Zealand and a couple other places overseas. Super exciting. So we start in November. And that's going to be the 15th of November to the 30th, ballpark in Naples, Florida, and surrounding Florida areas. Then I'm going to be in Savannah, Georgia, and surrounding areas in Georgia. That's going to be around December 1st through the 7th. So if you want to book a gig with me, whether it's for your business, you want to have me come do a show, you want to have me come do like a ghost hunt or some kind of tour, supernatural or historical tour through your location, if you want me to teach a class or do a lecture, all of that may work in the schedule. So what you're going to do is to email reviivyrivera@yahoo.com. You're going to say, I am interested in hosting Ivy for an event on her tour in whatever state it is that you're in, and we're going to figure something out. Okay, this also works for private parties. So maybe you don't have a big business. Maybe you're not trying to host a big public event, but you want to get a group of your family and friends together and have me come and do a gallery show or private reads or both. Okay, you're going to want to do the same thing there. You have a paranormal property. You want me to come and read the situation like my house. More than happy to do so. Excited about it. Okay, so we've got Naples and Florida. Then we've got Savannah and Georgia. After that, we're moving into January for New Orleans and the Louisiana area, and then Texas. Those two trips on the tour are going to be connected also. I'm going to be doing 2 states at a time. All right. So also, if you're in New Orleans, you're in the deep South, if you are in the Texas area, you can also go ahead. So again, reviivyrivera@yahoo.com. Drop me an email and my assistant will get you all set up with a gig. My symbology book. If you want to get on the early bird waitlist for my symbology book, I am pounding that out just as quickly as I can. It's going to include the 4 hours of symbology training I give to my psychic mediumship course students, and much, much more. So you're going to, again, go to my email, revivrivera@yahoo.com, and say, I want to get on the early bird waitlist for the symbology book. This is exciting. I just announced yesterday up on the website, you can go check it out, ivyriverapsychicmedium.com. I am now doing haunted sleepover experiences. All of you guys who are coming for the historical tours here at my 1882 Victorian funeral home, or you were coming for the ghost hunts, you've been asking, can I stay the night? Can I stay the night? Well, I have figured it out. I have worked it out. So I am not only opening up an Airbnb where you can stay in one of the rooms and have a more traditional Airbnb experience. I am also doing these haunted overnight sleepovers where you can bring up to 25 of your family or friends and stay in the entire lower level. You also get a tour of all 4 floors of the property. I give a 15-minute talk. You have a continental breakfast, all these great things. So check it out if you want to come stay here. Spirit's waiting on you, I assure you. All right, so it'll be a ton of fun. We also have the monthly ghost hunt and the historical tours running on the same day. So that's going to be Friday, September 30th in the evening. I have the ghost hunts going. That's 12 people per group, so get your tickets ahead of time. And then the historical self-guided tours are running a little bit earlier in the evening. So go ahead if you want to get your tickets ahead of time for that also. But walk-ins are welcome. We also have our monthly walk-in night, virtual, 100% online from the comfort of your own home psychic fair, showcasing students and graduates of the Ivy League Psychic Academy. My psychic mediumship students and certified readers will be at this month's walk-in night. $15 gets you 2 readings, 2 healings, a reading and a healing you can mix or match. That is also Friday, September 30th, and you're going to want to get your tickets in advance for that. That does sell out quickly up on the website. Again, the website, people, is above or below, depending on where you're tuning in, ivyriverapsychicmedium.com. If you wanted to get in on the psychic mediumship course and you missed it, you only missed at this point 2 weeks. So you could still jump in and catch up with us. So you can go to psychicmediumshipcourse.com, or you can go to ivyleaguepsychicacademy.com, get yourself registered. And if you guys want to have a face-to-face reading with me, I am going to be at the Lewiston Harvest and Hops. I believe it's a 2-day festival going on this upcoming weekend, Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. You may want to pre-book your spot with me. You could book up to 3 spots. They're 10-minute readings at $25. That is a price I only give for public events and festivals like this during my in-season. So check it out. Go ahead, book yourselves. But I will be taking walk-ins for as many spaces are left open. Again, that's Lewiston Harvest and Hops this weekend from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. More information is up on my website. On everywhere I'll be throughout Western New York for the next few months. There's a ton going on. I'm doing quite a few gigs at cemeteries too. And like Frank Lloyd Wright's architectural masterpiece, Grey Cliff, I love it. I'll be doing tours there. I'll be doing a whole bunch of sort of, paranormal tours, lots of fun. So check it out. Okay, looks like we're doing pretty good here with audio and video. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. I'm Ivy Rivera. I'm a psychic medium, a Taino Arawak. I own a school called the Ivy League Psychic Academy where I train people internationally in everything ranging from psychic mediumship development to astrology, tarot, numerology, paranormal work, empathic work. You name it, we do it. So I hope to see you for a full list of classes. Go to ivyleaguepsychicacademy.com. If you need to book a reading or a party with me, you can go to ivyriverapsychicmedium.com. And what you've caught here tonight is one of my free mini classes. Every other week, I do a free mini class here on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. And tonight's topic is why psychics struggle with love. Now, I could have really said why psychics, mediums, healers, light workers, empaths struggle with love, but I had to edit a bit down. However, this is really going to touch on so many of you out there who notice that you have a repeat pattern of struggle in dealing with love because you're either not getting back what you put out, you have issues with boundaries and you're overgiving, or you understand that your intuitive intelligence is taking over too much of the time. It's creating all kinds of discord, or maybe you didn't know why the heck all of this drama was happening on replay, on repeat. And tonight we're going to break it down. All right. So why do psychics struggle so much in love? I would say that, the first and most important thing to understand is that the psychic mind sees the end result. So if you are intuitive, all right, if you're really empathic, you are automatically a medium and a psychic. If you're a medium, you're automatically psychic. And if you're psychic, you're clairvoyant. So we see the past, the present, and the future accurately, but we see it without the full scope of information, meaning each individual on earth has free will. And we don't know how an individual is going to use their free will. So when the psychic mind sees the end result, we can fall in love with someone because we're seeing their potential. We are seeing what they may become, what the end result can be. But that is not destiny future. That is free will future. So the psychic mind, the empathic mind, the mediumistic mind will see all of this high level energy and huge potential and charm and the absolute best outcome that may happen with a person. And we can fall down a rabbit hole and get invested in who we think we're seeing, who we think we're dating, who we think we're falling in love with, when in actuality, the person in front of you is never going to become that. They simply do not have the will. They will not take advantage of the tools. Maybe they just don't have the character, the integrity to become that thing that they were meant to be. And we have to be extremely careful that we're asking every day, is the person I'm in love with, I'm investing in, I'm falling for, clearly in front of me? Or am I projecting some kind of fantasy on the psychic result, the potential that they have? And this gets tricky, especially if you're a healer, if you are an empathic person, if you are a light worker. You may notice that you are naturally inclined to help people, to heal people. A lot of people talk about trauma bond, and it's sort of like that. It's sort of like having a desire to help someone through something they're struggling with in their life. And what we need to understand is that that could be coming from a place of wounded healer syndrome. It could mean that you need some therapy. It may mean that you need to do some self-work. It may mean that you're deflecting, or that you're in avoidance or escapism of your own shadow work. It could. I think for many of us, though, it's habitual. We don't even think about it. It's just a tick to give. So we're overgiving, and we've put the cart so far in front, we don't realize until it's a little too late that we have crossed that boundary. Then you got to pull back and you have to reassess. And sometimes you can simply set healthy boundaries at that time, but often it's a sign that you've had a wake-up call, that you are now seeing clearly, and you do need to walk away because you're realizing that this person has a pattern of deficiency, that they are not who you thought they were. And it is also not to say that that individual tried to deceive you. I have a lot of clients, I have a lot of students, I have a lot of friends, I've even done it myself, where I've thought negatively about someone I was dating because I thought, well, they were trying to convince me that they were someone else. Now, this happens, of course. This is a super common technique, right, that people use with like love bombing, or too quickly trying to get you into a commitment so that, you don't see past the facade. That can happen. But a lot of times for us light workers, psychics, mediums, empaths, It's that we chose not to see what was directly in front of us. We were going too fast. We weren't being mindful enough. We're not educated enough on the way our psychic mind works. And it's not necessarily that that individual was trying to deceive you at all. They may not even know what you're talking about. So we want to be more mindful as we go forward. I always say that love is like a ping pong game. You know, it should be like you hit the ball over, and if they hit the ball back, then you can hit the ball over, and then they hit the ball back. It's slow. And make sure that what you're seeing with the person you're falling for or supporting, investing in, that it's patterned behavior. Because something that's sporadic or like a roller coaster ride is clearly not strong enough to hold and build a foundation upon. Okay, so that would be the first area. All right, number one, the psychic mind sees the end result. I want you guys to start posting your questions in your comments. I am going to be taking them later on in the curriculum, answering any questions that you have. Please do post if you've had an experience like this, if you understand what I'm talking about. Support your brothers and sisters here and also the channel. Everybody, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and donations are appreciated. All right, let's move on to number 2, telepathy. Okay, so huge reason that psychics struggle in love, intuitives, empaths, mediums, right? Light workers struggle in love is because at the 3rd and the 4th levels of empathic ability, or if you're psychic, you are a telepath. Telepathy can happen though with anybody. And it can happen when you have a really strong bond with someone. So if you say, well, I don't have telepathy, but I do that with my mother, I do that with my sister, I did that with my ex-boyfriend, I was able to hear their thoughts. I knew what they were going through. Even if they were miles away, we could communicate that way. Well, it's the same thing with love. And unfortunately, telepathy is not something to toy with. And it's extremely difficult to get past if you are the type of telepath who doesn't know you're telepathic. And it can lead to things like paranoid thinking, anxiety, blame and accusation against the other person. It can really take a toll also if you're hypersensitive to your telepathy and you allow yourself to become emotionally wounded by what the other person is thinking, because every human being is exactly that, a human being. They may be sexually attracted to someone else. They could accidentally get turned on by something they see. They could have a negative thought about you if they're mad at you. They may from time to time wonder what else is out there, or, you know, do I have other soulmates, or where else may I be in the future? Or is this relationship a right fit for me? There are a million things, and admit it, it goes through your mind too. Okay. There are a million things that may go through someone's head when they're invested in a relationship with somebody else that weren't meant to be put on public display. And if they're not sharing that information with you, but you're hearing it, you may want to start making some decisions to pull your energy back and get control over your telepathy. I have a class up on the website called Empathic Awareness that teaches you in how to pull back and tune out. If you guys have ever watched True Blood, it was an HBO series that came out a few years back. They did some really great research in that show. Has anyone ever seen this? Well, the main character in that series is a telepath, and her name is Sookie Stackhouse. And you'll watch her from episode to episode, learn how to tune it out, learn how to turn it off, learn how to control it. And she talks about the exhaustion level from having to do that all the time. And in my empathic awareness training, I talk about how exhausting it is to have to control your intuitive intelligence all the time, especially telepathy. But when you are in a relationship with someone else and it's getting deep. It's a lot of time together. You need to make sure that you're setting those boundaries so you're not meshing and becoming the other person and their thoughts, that your awareness remains separate from theirs, or else it's going to be offensive a great deal of the time. Now, here's another reason I say intuitives struggle with love, but it's not really a struggle. It is a blessing in disguise. If they're cheating, if they have ill will against you, if they are not the type of person that you should be investing in, you are going to know ahead of time. And that is not your paranoia. It is not necessarily fear from a past relationship where had some kind of trauma or abuse, someone cheated on you. It isn't that manifesting as a fear against your very innocent current love partner, as much as it may literally be your intuition kicking in and saying, nope, we identify this. I've done this before, or this is dangerous for me. And if you genuinely feel that you've received some repeat warnings about your partner, telepathically hearing what they're thinking about being with other people or doing something harmful toward you, or being incredibly selfish even in their thoughts, they have no consideration of you whatsoever, you would notice that this also shows up in your dreams. So you would have prophetic dreams, vision dreams, stress dreams of this person abandoning you or harming you in the sleep state. You may also get anxiety attacks around this person, or when they're about to message you, or when they're up to something behind your back. You could get upset stomach, irritable bowel. You may notice a burning at the back of your neck up into your head. These are physical cues. These are psychic, right? Body symbology cues. And the message is run for the hills. So you do want to take it seriously and understand that as a telepath, this could very well be working in your favor. But a lot of people come and they say, well, psychics never do well in love because we can always spot a cheater. Well, I'd say that's doing pretty well in love. You could spot every cheater. Okay, so don't get down on yourself and be careful about the language you use. You are capable of finding a high quality, worthy partner, just not that type. And we do get faster at identifying it. All right, so telepathy may be an issue. And remember that when you're dealing with a partner who's having human instincts, it's okay to also look at yourself and say, I have those same curiosities about my future, whether this relationship is really the end all be all. I think about other people. I could be attracted to other people. It's okay to be this way. We are still committed, and we are still being truthful, loyal, and honoring what we have right now. So you have to get more realistic about that. This isn't Disney. Then I want to say the third category, and then I'm going to get on to your questions and comments. If you haven't already done so, post them now. Everybody, please give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already done so. Right. So I would say that the last major issue that we have in finding struggles in our love lives is with contract obsession. And what I mean by that is that there is an awareness as a psychic, as a medium, as an empath, okay, as a light worker, as a healer. You have probably noticed that you have contracts with certain people. We could call these soulmate contracts. We could say that this is North Node connection in astrology. We could say that this is South Node connection, which is past life connection, or a karmic contract, or this is a member of your soul tribe, that there's work to do with this other person. And often with those contracts, we have something called cords. Okay, so the cords make it so that the relationship itself feels old, it feels historical, it's extremely comfortable, it's also addictive, it's passionate, it has this sort of raw element to it. It could feel like obsession if you try to go your separate ways. It's not easy to get out of because of the cords. The cords keep you bonded to this other individual because there's a lot of work there that needs to be done. And if we didn't have the cords, we would just run off for the hills. Okay, so that's not how the universe works. We have to have something to keep us stuck there. I have a class up on my website called Relationships, Boundaries, and Cord Cutting. I have another one called Karma, Contracts, and Past Lives, if you want to get educated on what I'm talking about. Now, if you understand that you have cords with certain people, that you have contracts, okay, work to do with certain people, as an intuitive, you could find yourself really becoming obsessive about that and almost like a trauma bond. Understanding that because of the contract and the way it feels so passionate and dynamic and powerful and sort of addictive, you can get addicted to only dating people with that you have contracts with. And a lot of those contracts can end up being super toxic. They are hard lessons. When we talk about karma, we're talking about extreme difficulty. You could even be with an abusive partner, a narcissist, a sociopath, a psychopath, and you can think, but it feels really good so much of the time. It works really well so much of the time. Yeah, but it's a karmic contract. It is technically abusive, or, it's something you're supposed to be growing and evolving from, learning a lot from. And we don't want to romanticize those. And if we are talking about soulmate contract with the cords again, we would have a lot of the same feelings, but we would understand that this is a bit of a higher level, higher vibration, but still a ton of hard work. Rarely works out. Because it may not function in the day-to-day. And that's what's really needed. So if you're looking for something like a long-term commitment, cohabitation, marriage, I know most people aren't, but if you are, that isn't a given just because you found a soulmate. It again would be rare. Now, I always say we get about 5 to 6 different soulmate options over the course of our entire lives. And what we want to do is to pick the one that functions best in the day-to-day, is balanced, is healthy. But back to what I was saying, if you are addicted to only dating people with contracts, you are going to be on one hell of a ride. 100% of the time, it is going to be a roller coaster, but everything else next to that is going to feel extremely dull. Okay, so it's kind of like getting addicted to a high. I think that if you're going to do it, and I do, I'm not going to admit it, okay, 100% I do. I don't waste time on anything else, but I also am educated on what I'm doing. I think it's really important, again, you understand cords. You understand the difference between a soulmate contract versus a karmic contract, and you know how to watch for those abusive or really low-level energy signs, because it will still feel incredibly good at times. And you have to be willing and capable of emotionally controlling yourself and pulling out when it's time to do so. All right. So understanding that a contract is a dynamic part of your overall life contract, and wanting only to date those could be a big reason why you struggle in love, but have a whole heck of a lot of stories to tell. No doubt about it. Okay. All right, we're going to get into questions, comments. I could talk on this topic for hours. If you guys want a part 2 on this, go ahead and put in the comment section that you want a part 2. And if there's anything specific you want me to cover, put that in the comment section now. All right, so I just want to say thank you so much for the donations. I missed some, I'm sure, out of my peripheral here, though I do see Texas Girl in Virginia. Appreciate it so much. All right, let's go ahead and start popping up. Nisha Camillo says, how can I know if it's telepathy versus old traumas? That's a great question. Let's take a look at this. First of all, there's a pattern from old traumas, and it feels a very specific way when it comes up. Like if you were in an abusive childhood household, or you were involved with a love partner who physically attacked you. These are just examples. You would have certain physical reactions. Your nervous system would do something that is unique to that physical abuse. You would ahead of time know if you were about to be hit with a physical object by someone else in a car accident, your body knows ahead of time. So you need to understand your trauma. You need to understand your triggers. You need to understand, and this is where therapy comes in and can help a lot if you have a really good therapist. You have to understand how you react to that particular kind of trauma. Then you need to get educated on intuition, which is psychic, mediumistic, and empathic information coming into you and how that feels, which is a completely different cup of tea. Intuition is going to come through the right side of your brain, not the left logical side. The left logical, reactionary, protective side of your brain that gets involved with most trauma is the polar opposite of intuition. So if you notice that your intuition activates in a sort of all-knowing, still small inner voice, or a warning with certain physical cues, like I mentioned earlier, burning at the back of the neck, upset stomach, an anxiety attack, a fixation on the other person, and you don't know why, the nightmares that have awfully specific detail in them about how this person's going to do you dirty. Okay, those are some strong indicators that it's coming from your intuition. Okay, also, for those of us that are mediums, and we all are to different degrees, you may get a ringing in your ear, especially your right ear. Mediumship is the left ear, but a warning is the right ear ringing. It is also the left eye twitching. Okay, check out my symbology book. Get on the early bird waitlist for this. I'm going to be breaking down probably a couple different chapters on physical symbology. Left eye twitching is a warning that someone's doing you dirty. You still have time to not necessarily prevent it, but to definitely minimize your losses. The right ear ringing is a warning that something is going on right now in that exact moment. Check your social media. Stop, slow down, and ask what is going on. Okay, tap into your third eye, your higher mind. Get that information. Two totally different ways of being triggered. Great question. I could probably do a whole class on that. I love that. Okay, we have one from Bethany Renner. This makes so much sense, she says. I've dated so many guys based on their potential, and now I see why. Thank you. Yeah, sister, join the club. And I'm not saying this is just something, women do, although women do traditionally tend to work harder on themselves, are more willing to get comfortable with the discomfort, do the self-evaluation, the self-growth, take the time. We own it. We're more willing to speak up in community or therapy and get what we need whereas men don't. And, that means that when we look around at ourselves or other women, we, maybe with them see potential and they're going to actually achieve that. But when we look at most men, we're seeing that they will probably never accomplish that. And that's a hard reality. But people can't accomplish what they came to Earth to do. They can't be the best form of themselves until they're willing to learn who they are and grow and work on themselves. So we have to be careful. Tamara Schlack, how do you see the difference between your thoughts and what you feel others are thinking? So when we talk about telepathy, we're talking about actually hearing through something called clairaudience what the other person is thinking. And you may have visions as well of what they're seeing or thinking, almost like it plays out like a movie. So let's break these two things down. Okay, clairaudience is hearing in your own mind from your inner voice their thoughts. It will often come with a ringing in the ears, like a tinnitus or a pressure in the ears. It can also come in a trance-like state. So it's almost like you tune in, even though you weren't trying to, okay? You sort of, you tune in. If you watch all the old scary movies, let's take The Shining as an example. There are many times throughout that movie where that ringing, that tinnitus in the ears, that frequency, that almost like a radio frequency, when that all of a sudden takes over the film, right? The entire sound becomes that vibration, that frequency that is almost painful to allow. And that is a sign that you're tuning in. All right. So that should come with the telepathy that you're having or some of the other physical cues that I mentioned. But with the visual, you're going to, through clairvoyance, you're able to see their thoughts like you're watching a movie. And this would come in your mind's eye. And I would say that what you're asking here is, how do I know the difference between that and my emotions? How do I know the difference between that and just the way I'm feeling or my negative opinion toward this person or whatever it is? Well, you may have feelings about what you're seeing. You may have feelings about what you're hearing. That doesn't make it wrong. So what you need to really ask is, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Did I have these feelings before I saw this thing? Did I feel this way about this person or their intention before I heard this in my head? You just need to understand that it can be both happening simultaneously, and don't put judgment incorrectly on your emotions about the situation. You need to say, that's okay. I'm allowed to feel negatively about it. I'm allowed to be paranoid. I'm allowed to be suspicious. Who wouldn't? That's good, healthy common sense. Okay. It's sort of like when our anger gets ignited. Sometimes we have to use that. There's a purpose for that. Okay. You don't want to be a raging, angry person all the time, needlessly, haphazardly, or out of control. And you don't want to be paranoid about other people, anxious and blaming all the time because you're a telepath. But you do need to get educated on how you receive the information and how to acknowledge it when it's accurate and make a plan to deal with it. Okay, hope that answers the question. We have another one here from a Tamara. Oops, that jumped off. Tamara Schlock. I think I found it though. She said, I feel like I get the voice and the movie in my vision. Yeah, so it can happen at the same time. So clairaudience is hearing a spirit in your head as though it's your own inner voice. Clairaudience is hearing another person in your head as though it is your own inner voice. It's just another form of telepathy in the way that the information comes through. We could even get that off of an object or an atmosphere. If you went into an old haunted house or an insane asylum, you would hear in your head what people were thinking or what they were saying, right? That's all clairaudience. And what you're talking about is also clairvoyance, right? Which is having a vision, almost like a movie in your mind. We would call this maybe daydreaming or prophecy. And yeah, we want to understand that we can have many, many different abilities going on simultaneously to sort of feed the message that's trying to come through. All right. And looks like we are at time. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up today. Again, if you guys want a part 2 to this, or you have any additional questions, post them below and I'll consider doing something else with this. I will see you guys next week for my Ask Ivy show. Now that's Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. here on TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. And that's where I take your personal questions and I deliver out messages from spirit. If you need to book a reading or a party with me, you're going to go to IvyRiveraPsychicMedium.com. And for a full list of classes that I offer here at the Ivy League Psychic Academy, online and now in person, go to IvyLeaguePsychicAcademy.com. Thank you, Mairead. Thank you, Spirit. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. See you next